Good afternoon, everyone. First, I would like to ask if you guys can all come to the front so that we're not so scattered and we can begin the program. Thank you. First, I would like to thank you for coming out today for such an important event. We do believe in diversity, but more importantly, we believe in equity. So we are here to make sure that our voices are heard. Danbury has a time to change, and that time is now. So that's why we're here, that's why we're gathered. The demographics has changed, and I think that it's okay for us to be able to call for real change. So I would like to begin our program by having Reverend Parker lead us in prayer and then begin the program. Reverend Parker.
Let us pray. God, we're grateful and thank you for this time you've given us together this afternoon on the green. Thank you for moments like this to bring about real transformation and change. Bless our gathering. This we pray in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen. Listen, let's do the introduction and safety. All of you should have masks. If you don't have one, please get one. I am not of the other whatever. Please get a mask. If you don't have one, put on one, please. We're concerned. They're over here. Miss Angela, right there. Masks are there. Please put one on. If you don't have one, practice social distancing. If it's not with your family, we're concerned about you, and let's be concerned about each other, all right? Also, listen, the census, if you have not registered to vote, or not even registered, let's say get ready to vote, but the census is here. You want to be counted. Your community, my community, are affected by what you do. And so then if we want monies to come into our communities, it is determined by what we do with the census. So right here are two right here. Also from one of my fraternity brothers, Brother Michael Taylor is here. He has some as well. Listen, let's do our thing. We can't blame the system for not giving us anything if we don't do our part. So it's important that we do our part. So take the census. Amen? All right. How many of you did it already? All right. Shame on you. Shame on you. All right. Listen, thank you again for just being here. We're concerned about your safety. And listen, as I share this, you say, why is Pastor Parker here? I am here because if we are going to be followers of Jesus, Jesus was the one who spoke for the voiceless. Jesus was the one who actually spoke truth to power. And I said with Brother Pimentel, listen, I am such at a place in my walk with God that I'm willing to speak truth to power because I can't be bought. Hear me. When you know what God is calling you to do, you are able to speak truth to power. And I am standing today to say that it's time for real change in Danbury, and it starts with you and me today. Listen, why am I here? Micah 6:8 said, what does the Lord require of thee? To do justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly for your God. But the first thing all of us want to pray and ask God what to do. God said, I need you to do justice. And we are calling for justice in the educational system here in Danbury, Connecticut. Right? Carter G. Wilson in his book, The Miseducation of a Negro, said that you never have to control the actions or the behavior of an individual if you can control what they think. If you can control what that individual think, you can control their actions and their behavior. Well, let's just say it's time for Danbury to know that the community has shifted, the community has changed, and we are not going anywhere. So then, you might say, well, you know, aren't the school systems wonderful? Well, can I say my children are not in the Danbury public school systems? Why? Because they are failing us. And we continue year after year, every 2 years, every 4 years, electing individuals to represent us, and they get the power and they forget about us, those of us who actually elected them to their position. But it's time for us on this day to hold them accountable and make demands. Come on, you heard what I said. It's time for us to make demands on them and tell them, listen, this is what we're asking, and you have our demands. We're going to go over them in a little bit, but I am convinced, I am concerned that any politician, I don't care if it's the mayor, I don't care if it's the city council, I'm bringing the heat and we're bringing the fire. Now is the time where you realize that you have power. Now is the time where you realize you don't need anyone to give you anything. You came here with intrinsic worth from your Creator God. You have power. You just have to be able to speak your truth. And even when they turn you down, when we come together, Black, Hispanic, Latino, Portuguese, Guatemala, it doesn't matter your nationality, but when we come together, we are a force to be reckoned with. Are we together today? I said, are we together today? So what is the call? As Micah 6:8 said, what does the Lord require of us? To do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly before your God. Thank you.
Sometimes when people don't like the message, they try to kill the messenger. And there's been so many misconceptions, not only about charter schools, but about the movement itself. All kinds of wild stories, from the tons of money that I made to I never was a teacher. And I thought it was important to have a couple of my students. I was a teacher, an administrator in Bridgeport for 22 years, and it's the most wonderful part of my life. So I would like to call Aleshka Madero, and I actually said, let me get the shy one, because if we could get her to speak, that's a victory. And some of the kids, if you want to come up here, just be behind. I'm gonna get you detention. So here's one of our former students.
It is not an exaggeration to say that a great teacher can change a student's life. Have you ever had a teacher who inspired you to work harder and pursue a particular goal? I can definitely say Pimentel has throughout the years and continues to do so every day. Seeing everything he's doing to fight for this dream motivates me to fight for mine. Walking into the Bridge Academy, I didn't know what to expect. Going from a public school to a college prep charter school was kind of big for me at the time. But Mr. P made it an amazing journey. Stressful, but I cannot complain because I didn't leave high school not knowing things. Because of him, I'm more open-minded. He made me think outside the box and extra hard to get the answers I needed. Until this day, I thank him for all the support and knowledge he has given me. He never let his students fall anything short of their goals. He always made sure we were on the right track, and in any way, shape, or form he can help us, he always did. From staying after school to even looking out for resources that might help us. He took us marching to save our schools alongside other charter schools to show how much it mattered. And now he's doing the same with this school. His job was to teach us about history, but he also taught us about hard work, economic growth, business plans, to believe in ourselves, and to always put work in anything we do. One thing I realized is the importance of having a caring minority role model that went far and beyond his normal job to inspire his students. When he joked about being passed up in Danbury, most of us couldn't imagine how such a caring and dedicated teacher had to travel almost an hour each day to teach. I believe it's Danbury's loss not to have Jose Pimentel as a teacher or administrator. You obviously have a broken system when minority teachers like him have to travel to other cities. I know you could do better. I travel all the way to Danbury to tell you that Danbury, you could do better. Mr. P, let us. My bad. Don't let your talented teachers go to waste. Mr. P left us to come and fight to open Danbury proper school. Don't let politicians lie and manipulate the situation. It is an amazing program that could do amazing things for this city. For a society to truly have justice, it must be willing to do what is not comfortable, and it must be willing to go that extra mile. Support and demand true educational system in Danbury, Connecticut, and in the United States of America.
Don't hate me, Aleshka, but that used to be a lot of our presentations at the Bridge Academy. I used to love to, right, Miguel? Amazing. Next, one of the things that's important is how this movement is actually growing and is spurring new ideas. We have young people, if anybody see the t-shirts out there, LEAD, Latinos for Educational Advocacy in Danbury is a wonderful group that is being created to have an actual lobbying, group that's advocating for education. When I was looking for a job at 97, I didn't have a group to go to. I didn't have the people to go to. So this is very important to support. We would like to call Mr. Pesantes to talk a little bit about the group and how you guys can sign up.
My name is James Pesantes. Basically, my whole entire life, I grew up here in Danbury. I know the struggles that students have to go on a day-to-day basis, especially the minorities, Latinos, and African Americans. I could vouch and say that the system here in Danbury is a system that is failing. The majority of our students, the students that are of minority, have nothing to say. They don't have a voice, and it comes to a point where it gets tiring, because the majority of our students, Latino and African Americans, are left to fend for themselves. They have nothing to support them. The counseling and college preparation counselors that are in our schools aren't doing much to help our students. And I'm here today because I'm a product of that. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. For the past 15 years of my education, I was put through ESL because my first language wasn't English. I was put through ESL because there was nobody to give me the support in the school system. People, educators that I could look up to and see that they have the passion to teach somebody that does not know anything. I was put through the system and eventually made it to high school. My guidance counselor really didn't give me any information about college and how to prep myself for that. So I was placed through an infinite amount of counselors. I think I ended up going through 3 counselors, and they had no clue and no orientation for somebody of my ethnicity. They gave me no support. So I was left with my parents to apply to different schools and see what I could do to better myself, to become a professional. And I can tell you now that through my struggle, and I know that there are a lot of people out there going through the same thing, And I'm here to give them a voice because I had to go through an X amount of things and challenges that I did not know that I was going to go through. And I could say that the majority of our students are going through the same thing. I was placed at various. I had to take various amounts of courses to be able to apply and take the SAT, which was one of the exams that required you to be able to go into a university. So it was difficult for me. And I know that the students are going through the same thing and having to take this exam and not knowing really what exactly this exam is measuring, because it doesn't measure your intelligence whatsoever. I can tell you that much. I ended up going to Western Connecticut State University and graduating with a psychology degree. It took me a while. My actual dream wasn't to become a psychologist, but to become a doctor. And I could tell you that I went through a whole bunch of things and a whole bunch of obstacles that I had teachers telling me that I wasn't capable or smart enough to become a doctor. And I can tell you now and today that after 4 years and a half of school in a medical school outside the country, I am currently in a medical school program and will be graduating in the next year and a half. And I'm here to let every student, Latino, African American, know that it is possible to be able to do what you want and never give up on your dreams, because the dreams are what hold us together to become better people. It is not because people are telling you left and right that you can't do something. It is not true. I can tell you that I went through a whole bunch of obstacles to get to where I wanted to be. And today, I love what I'm doing. I love helping my fellow men and women, providing them with health care and excellent quality of care. I can tell you that I love and I provide my patients day in and day out with the best type of care, personalized care, because the health system itself also is failed. It failed most of us Americans here in the States, and I can say that with one person that's willing to change that system, there will be a difference for everybody. Thank you very much.
Hello, this is pretty long. Do I need to read the whole thing? Because everybody has it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna read like the bold part, I guess, right? Can I do that? Okay. Yes. Oh my Lord. Okay. Our demands. First and everything, let's say good afternoon and thank everybody for being here. Thank you for your support. We really appreciate it. We need this. The people that is here was born in Danbury, has a nephew, a daughter, it's anybody in the school system. Who? Can somebody go like this if you know anybody, or if you have somebody in your family that has been in the system? No? Nobody? You don't have a nephew, you don't have a daughter, you don't have anybody, you haven't been in the system, in the school system? Okay, I do. I have nephews, my daughter, I have friends, and they're being part of the system. And let me tell you something. We need a change, and that's why we're here today. Okay, our demands: an independent committee to recruit and hire a diverse staff of teachers and administrators who reflect our students. In Denver Public School, 66% of the students are students of color, but only 12% of teachers are. So that means students of colors, Latinos have zero representation almost, because the 12% is almost nothing. I mean, if you do the math, out of 66% of students are Latinos and Black, but 88% of the staff is not Latino or Black. Okay, you do the math. Do we need representatives? Do we need a committee? We do, right? So that's why we're here today. Second, greater investment in social, emotional learning, counselors, and social workers. Like the person that just was here talking, speaking, he says that he had no counselor. He doesn't have anybody to reach out to. So we also need that. We need it in a way that is, let's call it desperately. We really need that representation. Third, but no less important, open a Denver public charter school. We really need to do whatever needs to be done to have that school open in Denver. Okay? If you look in the bottom of your paper, it says take action. At this moment, you're gonna say, what can I do to help that school get open? What about all of us in this very moment take our cell phones out? Can we take our cell phones out? Everybody has those cell phones. And just text 52886 and put a stand up for ED, stand up for education. Can you send that text? Okay, number 52886. 52886. Right now, at this very moment, you're here. You can take action right now. So let's do it. You're here. You're under the sun. Okay, you can be home on the AC or anywhere with your family, but you're here. So let's do something. And you can do it right now. Just text 52886. Stand up for education. Stand up for ED. Okay, and send it. What is this for? That's to let our legislators know our demands. Okay, we're here so we can be here. Okay, we have a voice and we need to be here. So don't put your hands in the back. Do something. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. We really need to open Denver Charter School here in Denver. We really need it desperately. Okay, 4, restorative justice practice to end the school to prison pipeline. Our education system often criminalizes Black and Latino students and diverts them at alarming rates from school to prisons. Why that happened? We just had that in our minds. Most of us believe that we can make it to school, that we can make it to college. That we can maybe just finish high school and then do whatever it takes to survive, maybe. So we need to end that pipeline. We need to let people know that we can do it, that we can go to college, that we can be doctors, that we can be nurses, that we can be teachers, that we can be role models for our other students. What about you're a teacher, and now you speak Spanish, you speak English, you went to the system, and now you can talk to all other Latinos that come to the system and don't speak Spanish, and they can look out to you and see that they can be a teacher because you did it. Okay, we need role models. We need people that represent us. We need people to reach out. We need people to look at. Most of us, when we were little, we wanted to be like a hero on the TV, right? We wanted to be like Batman, like Batichica, maybe, right? Like anybody. Because we saw them. Same thing. If you're a teacher, if you're a doctor, if you're a dentist, and a Latino, a little minority, see you, he can say, oh, I can be like her. I can be like him. Like Mr. P, the lady that talked, the first, what is the name of the first one? The Galeska? Okay. She saw you, and you were a role model for her. She said, I can do it. He did it. So same thing. What about somebody can one day say that about you and just go to you and say, you know what, I saw you one day at the office doing this or doing that. You were the secretary, you were the dentist, and I saw you and I was like, why? I can be like her because she looks like me. She has the hair, she has the skin color, and she has the accent like me. The heavy accent, but she did it. Okay, so let's do that. Making Black and Latino history central to our curricula. That's another point that we're working on. And reopening schools, equitability. Wow, I said that. Huh. Reopening the schools equitably and in a way that prioritize and support the safety of teachers and families most at risk. That's pretty long. Connecticut has yet to develop a school reopening plan that properly accommodates working class families and families of color who have been hurt the most by the COVID-19 pandemic. As most of us maybe have here in the news, a lot of the minorities has been the people that have been more affected with the COVID-19. What are the factors? Maybe poverty, maybe lack of education, maybe lack of opportunity, maybe lack of people to talk to speak to reach out to. So let's work on that too. Thank you so much, and thank you again for coming.
Thank you, Maria Matos. Us don't want unity. Many other people that want things to stay the way it is, want each one of us, each group, each demographic to be on their own. It's beautiful to have unity. It's beautiful to be together for a cause. And that's what I see today. I see today unity that is going to continue to grow until Danbury can be what it possibly can be. One of the people I would like to call Gabriela Ramon is somebody that I admire. She has been fighting for Danbury ever since I remember. I think from high school on, her entire life. He has our groups, Mujeres Emprendedoras. She assists anyone that needs it. And she's constantly working behind the scenes. Some of these unsung heroes that people don't know, and people might not even recognize them. But they're working every day. They're helping people every day. And sometimes they might not want to come and be in the limelight, but they have to be recognized. So I would like a big round of applause for one of our champions in the community, Gabriela Ramon, especially for women's rights. And she's been tirelessly working to represent our community.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, and I'm going to say a few words in English and Spanish because I do also appreciate my Spanish-speaking community, and Spanish is my first language. It's a pleasure to see you all here, every single one of you, children, parents, people from different towns and cities supporting us in this movement. And I said us because this is a movement that is for our city. As a mom, as a parent, as a member of the community of Danbury, having my children, my oldest one 16, and then I have a 13-year-old and a 3.5-year-old. So we've been part of the Danbury Public Schools for quite a few times because I also attended to Danbury Public Schools. It's a great community. Danbury is a wonderful city. The people that make this community, we are multicultural. We do speak different languages. We do have different customs. And we love this city. But you know what? One thing that makes the city special is the unity. In being from different communities, we have to be united. Like Mr. P said, where if there's union, there's force. So this is where we come. This is where we have to be, together. We're not asking for anything special, just for the best quality in education. That's all we want for our children. And first of all, I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't just fighting for just anything. it was because I was very concerned as a parent for my kids' education. But then I realized that we are part of this community, so I don't have to fight just for my children. I have to fight for your kids, for my neighbors' kids, and for the kids of our kids. All children in our city matter. Their future matters. If we don't realize how important it is, education in here right now, and the changes that need to be made right now, then there's no point of looking forward to the future. So we stand right now, we support the fact that we need quality education, the best quality of education, and we're gonna make it. Because I see that we are united. Our hearts are united in here. Thank you. Unas palabritas en español nada más, que como les dije, español es mi primera lengua y yo soy parte de esta comunidad, esta ciudad tan multicultural que tenemos, ¿no? Con diferentes costumbres, diferentes razas, diferentes lenguas. Y es un orgullo para mí enormemente el ser parte de esta comunidad de descendencia ecuatoriana. Yo nací en Ecuador. Tengo 22 años viviendo en esta hermosa ciudad. Junto a mi familia somos parte del sistema educativo de Denver y del sistema público. Y al principio luchaba nada más por el beneficio de mis hijas. Pero me di cuenta que no solamente importan mis hijas, que me importan los hijos y las hijas de mis vecinos, de mis compatriotas, de toda mi comunidad. La importancia en la educación, hay que hacer énfasis en la calidad de la educación que están recibiendo nuestros niños en la ciudad de Denver. No estamos luchando por nada extraordinario, solamente estamos pidiendo igualdad en la educación, estamos pidiendo que sean reconocidos nuestros derechos en la educación, los derechos de nuestros hijos. Necesitamos ser representados, porque personas como yo, que vinimos de una cultura diferente, nos gustaría ver estos rostros conocidos en una escuela, maestros, directores, personas a quien nos podamos dirigir directamente, ¿no? Y que hablen nuestra lengua, que entiendan nuestro sentir. Mantengámonos unidos. Yo veo corazones unidos, palpitantes en esta tarde. Y me hace sentir enormemente orgullosa de padres, de familia, de amigos, de niños, de alumnos, que estamos luchando por una misma causa. Mantengamos la unión, que la unión sí es la fuerza, y no decaigamos nunca. Por una educación mejor. For a best quality education. Here we are. Thank you.
Gracias, Gabriela. Thank you. One of the things that's important, guys, is that we can't do this alone. We cannot be fighting by ourselves. So we need alliances. We need to make sure that we find the groups and we find the people that are constantly working to bring about equality. I would like to have Robert Goodrich of the race organization, who is here to support more equality, more justice in our educational system.
So, thanks for having me today. My name is Robbie Goodrich. I'm the co-founder of Radical Advocates for Cross-Cultural Education, a Waterbury-based organization fighting for racial justice in our schools. My connection to Danbury is two different but very important ways. My father taught at Danbury High School for 35 years and also at Rogers Park. I attended WestCon twice as an undergrad and as a graduate student. I'm familiar and know the Danbury community. So, a little bit about race. We do a little bit of research, we do a little bit of advocacy, we see ourselves as accountability activists, as well as we train educators here in Connecticut. So we are here at a rally, and I want to make sure that we do some rally-based stuff. So I'm going to do some chants. So I want folks to follow me for a little bit. So when I say police free, you all say schools. When I say counselors, you say not cops. So are we ready? Police free. Not good enough. Police free. Counselors, not counselors. So what I want to sort of remind folks is that when we fight, we win. So at the end of when I'm done talking, we're going to go back to those chants, but we're also going to add, when we fight, we win. All right? So let's practice that just once. When we fight, good. So public education has been at a crossroads of crisis and creation for decades now. It's the foremost front lines of civil rights and racial justice here in America. At this point in time, we need to make investments so that transformation can happen and not reform. So when I point to things like defund the police, and as well as what's on my hat, it's really important that people see this not as an act calling for chaos and lawlessness, but one of joy and liberation. Because when we have police in our schools, and when we have a school-to-prison pipeline, when we have a system of crimmigration where our public spaces are used as hunting grounds for immigrants, we are not safe. None of us are. So I wanted also to acknowledge a few other things. COVID, this public health crisis, has sped up quite a few things and widened gaps as well. But one thing that it's done is it's created this sense of urgency to organize people around social issues. And that's where race sits. We want to be an organization that sits with folks fighting for justice in our schools. And it's important to define those things. So for race, racial justice means that we are repairing the harms caused by white supremacy, and we're also paying reparations, meaning that folks who have been oppressed and harmed by the systems of white supremacy are given the resources to create systems that they can manage themselves and that they can use to liberate their people. One of the things about the Danbury Public Schools that we can easily notice is the increase in school-based arrests since 2016 and 2017. So in 2016, 2017, there was 9 school-based arrests. Just 9. Just 9. In 2018, 2019, there was more than 90. Can y'all sit with that for a second? From 9, 3 years ago, to 90. So when we think about the school-to-prison pipeline here in Danbury, it's thickening. It's getting worse. The solutions that the Danbury Public Schools are providing around student behavior and social emotional supports are not sufficing. And what happens is that when people are introduced to the criminal justice system through the school-to-prison pipeline is that they never leave. They never leave. So one of the other things that race is completely aligned with in terms of this platform is increasing teacher diversity and how important having race-matched classrooms is throughout school districts in Connecticut. So we know we don't need another study. We don't need another task force. What we need to do is strengthen the experiences that students of color are having in our education systems. So that means not just our K-12 system, but our K-16 system, meaning our college preparatory programs are failing. They're not graduating and folks are not completing who are of color these programs that are preparing teachers. So the idea that this platform has to have a community-controlled body that recruits, hires, and then works to retain teachers of color is not only a push towards racial justice, but it's a push towards community control of schools. And when our communities have control of schools, we know that there's going to be justice, and that there's not white administrators, and that there's not white teachers, and there's not white parents making the decisions for families of color. So when I started talking today, I introduced a few things. One is that when we fight, so, and it's really important, okay, that we're here today advocating for a bunch of things, and that lead us to a system of responsive educational practices. But when that happens, it's not time to leave. or leave behind the people that have been left behind. That we still need to focus on these 5 or 6 core issues and support each other so that we can have racial justice in our schools, which will give us the opportunity to have racial equity. So one last time, police free, counselors, thank you.
Thank you, Robert. I do believe, and this is something that our legislators need to learn, I believe in transparent debate. If you have an idea, you should be able to say it, and people should be able to study it, and people should be able to discuss it, and people should be able to look at every single detail, then decide. In a democracy, all voices matter, and the decisions are made when you're open. We cannot have legislators that already made up their minds because of special interests. We need to open their minds, and this is how it's done. I have the pleasure to introduce Tyrone Elliott, a current principal at the school that I taught for 22 years. All right, I got proof that I used to teach. And I gotta bring my principal. One of the things is that we're local. I know he loves Bridges, he's probably not gonna leave anymore, but we're local. So we're from here. I think he's in New Milford now, but we're here. None of us should go anywhere else. We should be aggressively recruited, because that's what our politicians say, right? They cannot find Black and Latino teachers. They cannot find Black and Latino administrators. You got 2 administrators right here, a Dominican and an African American, both administrators, both teachers, but you can't find them? Think about that. Tyrone Elliott.
Good afternoon. Like Mr. Pimentel said, my name is Tyrone Elliott. I'm a high school principal at Bridge Academy in Bridgeport. I'm also the director of academics. I'm not going to take too long. Just a quick story. This is the importance about mentors. When I first graduated from WestConn, I had an opportunity to interview for a job at Danbury High School. I thought that was going to be my dream job, and it was a very diverse school, and that's where I wanted to be. I interviewed, and they ended up hiring someone else. So I worked into the tutoring center downstairs for about 3 months, and I got a job at Bridge Academy. Mr. Pimentel took me in, he mentored me, and he said to me one day, "You're gonna be the principal of this school." And I looked at him and I laughed. I was like, I just started teaching the principal, I really just want to get through the year. Right, I just want to be able to provide a good education for my students. 8 years later, I run the school. And the importance of having people who look like you and people who are able to mentor you, not only professionally, but in the classroom is very, very important. I think one of the biggest missteps, when you go outside of the country or outside of Connecticut, people say you're from Connecticut, and they say, 1, where is that? And 2, do Black people live there? And we have a very, very diverse community here in Danbury. I shouldn't have to drive an hour away to go teach students who look like me. And it's unfortunate. WestConn has a great teacher preparation school, and they have minorities coming through there, and for them not to be able to work in Danbury is a shame. On another note, curriculum, right? That's another piece of it. The curriculum should really address some of the issues in the school. It should address, Black history, brown history, and not just the struggles of Black and brown people, but the triumphs of Black and brown people. One of the things that when I first started as a social studies teacher, when I taught Black history, it wasn't just the civil rights movement. I tried to give a holistic view of the contributions of Black and brown people to society. So again, mentorship professionally and in the classroom, hiring more minority teachers in school, and a curriculum that reflects the actual student body. Danbury, again, has a huge school, a wonderful school. There's no reason why only 18% of the staff is minorities, and I know because I've physically been there. There are a lot of black and brown people in that building who need someone to look at and use an example and a role model. Thank you.
Did not take my early retirement, which I used to tell Tyrone all the time, 2 more years, I'm gonna be in the beach. And I gave that away. And I also left the security of 22 years job. You know, I think I could have been there for a while, because I think it's important. It's important that when you get young people studying at Western, that's the part that's a little even crazier. Somebody even graduating from our own university, and address ourselves as the majority. So the majority of the school system is African American Latino. 65% is African American Latino. So it's not a little group of people asking for representation, it's the majority asking for representation. Right now, there's gotta be another Elliott at Western. There's gotta be another Jose at Western. Danbury High, Broadview, they should be having them right off the bat. Before they even graduate, they should know who they are. They should have their interview, and they should have priority. We are product of the Danbury public school system and surrounding towns. We should not have to drive to Bridgeport. And many of us, we go there and we end up making another home. It took me 22 years. He's already up to 8. We go and make another home somewhere because we're educators and we love children. But why should we work in Bridgeport? Regis Park doesn't need us. Broadview doesn't need us. Danbury High School doesn't need us. When someone tells you they cannot find qualified minority teachers and administrators, they're lying. I'm asking for an independent committee that actually is the one in charge of recruiting and developing minority candidates. Because I bet you if me and Elliot were in that committee, we'll find you some people. We'll find you. You know why? Because we want to find them. So that's the change we want. We want real actionable change. I would like everybody to take their cell phones one more time. Because one of the things that we could do now is let our representatives know those demands that everybody has, we can actually email them to them, all the way up to the governor. We could email it to our senator, to Julie Kushner. We could send it to Bob Goffrey, to Gucker, to David Arcani, to Harding, to literally every representative can get this message from the community. Please take your phones out. All you have to do is text to 52886. So we have the poster here, so I know before we went too fast. 52886, and you have to write Stand Up for Education. So stand up, the number 4, ED. Stand Up for Education. Text that to 52886, and all of our representatives will get that email, send that message saying, you know what? We need change now. We need actual change. No more pictures, no more smiles, no more promises. The time for action is now. So one more time, text Stand Up for Education for ED at 52886. Everybody got that? Thank you, Elliot. I don't want anyone coming behind me having to go through what I went to. That was 23 years ago, but how many Jose's, how many Tyrones have we lost? How many people get that door shut? The way we're being treated is like this. The way we're being treated is you apply online and you never get called. That's recruitment. That's equity. That's telling 65% of our students that we can't find minority teachers, African American and Latino teachers, when the people that are homegrown have to go somewhere else and teach. I have Sonia teaching in Wilton. I have a couple of friends teaching in Vegas. 2 Dominican friends went to Korea to teach English and never came back. I mean, it's that tough to get a job in the Danbury public school system. Let's demand that we prioritize people that went through the school system in Danbury get first priority, especially if you're Black and Latino. You need to be a priority. I'm calling all of our legislators. I'm calling the Board of Education, and I'm telling them the community is tired of words. We need an independent body, an independent committee that would actually develop, hire, and take care of our minority professionals. The way that it is now, it's a white wall, and we smack into it and we have to go somewhere. I had to tell Hartford not to recruit me anymore because they call me every week. And you know what the difference is? The superintendents are Latina. So we need to ensure that Danbury has the equity that we need. We want to make sure to work with any party. I do not believe that we all should just automatically be in a party because of the color of our skin. Let both of the parties come to us. Let both of the parties ask us, what do you need as a community? And then they get our support. We need to hold them accountable for the things that they're doing. African American history and Latin American history should not be delegated to a month. They should not be delegated to a holiday. Latino history is actually non-existent. Doesn't exist. We don't get Latino history in any of our schools. So you go through the entire book, the majority of the population is Latino, but we never heard about any of it. Did you hear the story that the Spanish were actually the ones that helped us won the Revolutionary War? No, that's omitted because we had a war with Spain. Did you know that the first colony is not Plymouth Rock? It's St. Augustine in Florida. So the first European language spoken in this country is Spanish. Our Latino youth need to have pride. And here's where it gets even harder. If you're a white kid and you realize that this entire population has no history, why would you respect them? Why would you respect a group that has no value? And when you grow up and you're an administrator, when you have power, when you're a police officer, are you going to respect these black and Latino kids when you do not value their history? To have respect, we must teach what our contributions were to this nation. So the fight to have African American and Latino history be part of the curriculum every day in reading. And that's why we have Naya Zuri. She actually from kindergarten on has an amazing curriculum that teaches reading and writing through time travel, African American and Latino kids. An amazing author. We have those resources, but we need to want to have change. Another thing that's also important is to make sure that we as a community stay united. It's not a black movement, a Latino movement, a white movement. It's a community movement. It's a movement of concerned citizens that want to get better. I will speak to a Republican, to an independent, to a Democrat. We are open to speaking to whoever wants to listen. If it's the mayor, Mark Boughton, let's meet. If it's Julie Kushner, let's meet. Let's open all of the things to a transparent debate. Danbury Prospect Charter School, I started working for them 9 months ago because they say we have diversity by design. We don't even open the school unless 50% of the staff is people of color. I say, wow, that's a start. And we're one of the top 15 charter schools in the nation. And we have #1 in ELA in the state of New York, #1 in math in the state of New York, #1 in SAT in the state of New York. We got $25 million donated to open our own building. So the economic argument is what? A free school? A school that's being donated of the highest quality? Shouldn't that at least be a discussion? I'm not supporting charter schools. And you notice the opponents only say charter school. No, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of charter schools. When did I say I'm a supporter of charter schools? Charter school only means that it's independent from the local board. The biggest lie that we need to make sure people understand is this one. That charter schools are not held accountable. That's a lie. Alaska knows, I know, the kids here from Bridge Academy know, Tyrone Elliott knows. Every 5 years you go up for a renewal. If you do not meet the standards, they close you down. That's not accountability. If a traditional public school doesn't meet the standards, they get sent to the turnaround office, they get more funds. Which is more accountable? A school that can be closed if they don't do well, or a school that gets more money if they don't do well? Let's have that conversation. Let's be honest. Competition, choice is good. They're talking about a career academy. I want them both. I want them both. They should open up the career academy. I hope that's the right name. And Danbury Prospect. Between both of these schools, we could get up to 1,500 seats that would alleviate the overcrowding and would allow parents the choice. Danbury needs to have an actual open and honest conversation with our representatives. Yes, the union doesn't want it. It's okay. It's okay. One special interest should not decide the entire subject. So we want a transparent event. What do we have to do? Let's look at the facts. Let's look at the track record. Let's look at the economic impact, and let's have an actual transparent. We have Al, we have the News Times, we have Post Latino, we have a lot of media, and we could immediately make a live or some transparent debate with our legislators. Let's put everything on the table about the school and let the city decide. Let the citizens decide. That is one of the things I'm fighting for. So number one, an independent committee. People like me should not leave. Number two, African American and Latino history need to be a mandate from the state down so that every school teaches our history, especially the majority. Number three, a transparent discussion, a real transparent discussion about Danbury Prospect and whether or not it's the best for the city. One of the things I would like to tell the crowd and the people that came today before we finish is that this doesn't end. I would like to go back to my original message. We will continue to fight. We will continue to hold accountable our legislators. We will continue to unite as a family of brothers and sisters that want the best for our children. God bless Danbury. God bless Connecticut. And God bless the United States of America. Thank you for coming.